Question 151. What is the first thing you should do during an enforcement stop? Answers: A. Stop on the left shoulder. B. Turn on your left turn signal. C. Turn on your right turn signal. D. Stop on the center median. The answer is C. Explanation: turning on your right turn signal lets the officer know that you recognize his or her presence. Do not stop on the center median. What a driver should do during an enforcement stop. Special driving situations. California Driver Handbook. Question 152. What should you do if another driver tailgates your vehicle? Answers: A. Pull over and allow the tailgater to pass. B. Encourage the tailgater. C. Increase your speed to discourage the tailgater. D. Do not allow the tailgater to pass you. The answer is A. Explanation: tailgating is a trait of aggressive driving. If another driver tailgates you, pull over and let the driver pass. Hopefully, you will be following the tailgater from a greater and safer distance than the tailgater was following you. Scanning, visual search, California Driver Handbook. Question 153. Which of these signs indicates a hospital ahead? Answers: A. D. B. C. C. B. D. A. The answer is C. Explanation: blue and white signs direct you to services such as gas, food, motels, and hospitals. Sign B indicates a hospital ahead. Traffic signs, traffic controls, California Driver Handbook. Question 154. If you plan to turn beyond an intersection, you must. Answers: A. Not signal at all. B. Signal just before making the turn. C. Signal before passing through the intersection. D. Signal just after passing through the intersection. The answer is D. Explanation: if you plan to turn beyond an intersection, signal just after you pass through the intersection. If you signal earlier, another driver may think you are turning at the intersection. Signaling, safe driving practices, California Driver Handbook. Question 155. When you approach a roundabout, you must enter to the of the central island. Answers: A. Left. B. Corner. C. Right. D. Center. The answer is C. Explanation: a roundabout is an intersection control device with traffic circulating counterclockwise around an island. Approaching vehicles must yield to the traffic already in the circle. Always enter to the right of the central island. Roundabouts, laws and rules of the road, California Driver Handbook. All of those questions can be found in app DMV Success. DMV Success. Master your DMV exam in no time. Download now. Question 156. This hand signal indicates that. Answers: A. The driver is making a right turn. B. The driver is making a U-turn. C. The driver is making a left turn. D. The driver is slowing or stopping his or her vehicle. The answer is A. Explanation: during daylight hours, drivers may use hand and arm signals in addition to, or instead of, turn signals. This signal indicates that the driver is making a right turn. Signaling, safe driving practices, California Driver Handbook. Question 157. On one-way roads, yellow lines are used as answers. A. Left edge lines. B. Stop lines. C. Right edge lines. D. Center lines. The answer is A. Explanation. Yellow lines are also used as left edge lines on one-way roadways. Question 158. On two-lane roads, where traffic moves in opposite directions, you may pass on the left only when answers. A. A broken yellow line is not in your lane. B. A broken yellow line is in your lane. C. A double solid yellow line is in the center. D. A solid yellow line is in your lane. The answer is B. Explanation. On two-lane roads, where traffic moves in opposite directions, you may pass on the left only when there is a broken yellow line in your lane. Line colors, lane controls, California Driver Handbook. Question 159. When following a vehicle at night, always answers. A. Follow closely. B. Use your high beam headlights. C. Turn off your high beam headlights. D. Turn off your headlights. The answer is C. Explanation. When following a vehicle at night, switch off your high beam headlights. Bright lights can blind the driver because they can reflect off the vehicle's side mirrors. Things you must do. Additional driving laws rules, California Driver Handbook. Question 160. Which of the following statements is not correct? Answers. A. Motorcycles are entitled to the same full lane width as other vehicles. B. Bicycles and motorcycles move slower and stop slower than expected. C. When driving around bicycles, increase your following distance. D. Never drive beside a motorcycle in the same lane. The answer is B. Explanation. Bicycles and motorcycles are smaller and harder to see and can move and stop faster than expected. Right-of-way rules, laws and rules of the road, California Driver Handbook. Question 161. Use steering when correcting a skid. Answers. A. One hand. B. Hand over hand. C. Push-pull. D. Hand by hand. The answer is B. Explanation. Use hand-over-hand steering when steering movements are critical, such as in recovery from a skid. Hand-over-hand steering, safe driving practices, California Driver Handbook. Question 162. When two vehicles meet on a steep mountain road where neither can pass, which vehicle has the right of way? Answers. A. The vehicle traveling uphill. B. The vehicle traveling downhill. C. Both vehicles. D. The vehicle that comes first. The answer is A. Explanation. When two vehicles meet on a steep mountain road where neither can pass, the vehicle traveling downhill must yield the right-of-way by backing up until the vehicle going uphill can pass. The vehicle facing downhill has the greater amount of control when backing. On mountain roads, laws and rules of the road, California Driver Handbook. Question 163. High occupancy vehicle, HOV, lanes are reserved for. Answers. A. Tractor trailers with less than 3 persons. B. Carpools and vehicles with more than 1 person. C. Emergency vehicles. D. Farm machinery vehicles and trucks. The answer is B. Explanation. High occupancy vehicles, HOV, lanes are reserved for carpools and other vehicles with more than one person in them. Signs indicate how many people must be in the vehicle, as well as the days and hours to which it applies. Carpool high occupancy vehicles, HOV, lanes California Driver Handbook. Question 164. When turning left from a two-way street onto a one-way street, you must. Answers. A. Swing wide to the left before turning. B. Do any of the above. C. Start the turn with your left wheel as close as possible to the yellow dividing line. D. Start the turn with your right wheel as close as possible to the yellow dividing line. The answer is C. Explanation. When turning left from a two-way street onto a one-way street, start the turn with your left wheel as close as possible to the yellow dividing line. Left turns, California Driver Handbook. Question 165. If a tire suddenly goes flat while driving, you must. Answers. A. Try to increase your speed to control your vehicle. B. Try to move to the left side of the road. C. Hold the steering wheel tightly and keep the vehicle straight. D. Try to stop your vehicle on the road. The answer is C. Explanation. When a tire suddenly goes flat, you must hold the steering wheel tightly and keep the vehicle going straight. Do not brake hard. Slow down gradually. Take your foot off the gas pedal and use the brakes lightly. Driving in hill country or curves, driving hazards, special driving situations, California Driver Handbook. Question 166. This green traffic signal indicates that. Answers. A. The vehicles on the road must come to a complete stop and make a right turn at the intersection. B. The vehicles on the road are allowed through the intersection. C. The vehicles on the road must not proceed through the intersection. D. The vehicles must stop at the intersection and proceed with caution. The answer is B. Explanation. A green signal light lets you drive through the intersection or make a turn, except where turns are not allowed. Traffic signal lights, traffic controls, California Driver Handbook. Question 167. At the end of most entry ramps on a freeway, you will find that allows you to increase your speed. Answers. A. A slow lane. B. An access ramp. C. An acceleration lane. D. A deceleration lane. The answer is C. Explanation. At the end of most entry ramps on freeways, you will find an acceleration lane that allows you to increase your speed. Space to cross or enter, merging in out of traffic, California Driver Handbook. Question 168. Some streets and highways have diagonal yellow lines. These indicate that. Answers. A. The road is narrowing. B. There is an obstruction on the roadway. C. Either A or B. D. Neither A nor B. The answer is C. Explanation. Diagonal yellow striping on streets and highways indicates a narrow road or an obstruction ahead. Line colors, lane control, California Driver Handbook. Question 169. On a road with 3 or more lanes traveling in the same direction, the leftmost lane is used for. Answers. A. Stopping vehicles in an emergency. B. Passing faster vehicles. C. Passing slower vehicles. D. Heavy trucks. The answer is C. Explanation. On multi-lane roads, the leftmost lane is used for passing slower vehicles. If you pass on the right, the other driver may have difficulty seeing you and might suddenly change lanes in front of you. Passing lanes, lane control, California Driver Handbook. Question 170. When approaching an intersection, to make a right turn, you must stay and make the turn close to the right curb. Answers. A. On the shoulder. B. In the center lane. C. As far to the left as possible. D. As far to the right as possible. The answer is D. Explanation. When approaching an intersection, to make a right turn, stay as far to the right as possible. Make the turn close to the right curb. Right turns, California Driver Handbook. All of those questions can be found in app DMV Success. DMV Success. Master your DMV exam in no time. Download now. Question 171. If you suddenly go into a skid, you should. Answers. A. Ease your foot off the brake pedal. B. Apply the brakes. C. Ease your foot off the gas pedal. D. Shift gears. The answer is C. Explanation. If you suddenly go into a skid, ease your foot off the gas pedal. Do not brake. Turn the steering wheel in the direction of the skid. Skids on slippery surfaces, handling emergencies, California Driver Handbook. Question 172. What does this warning sign mean? Answers. A. There is a stop sign ahead. B. Slow-moving vehicles should not move as directed. C. Slow-moving vehicles should move as directed. D. There is a yield sign ahead. The answer is A. Explanation. This warning sign indicates a stop sign ahead. The driver should come to a complete stop near the stop sign before proceeding farther. Traffic signs, traffic controls, California Driver Handbook. Question 173. If you are in an intersection and you hear the siren of an emergency vehicle, you should. Answers. A. Move to the left and stop in the intersection. B. Continue through the intersection, then move to the left and stop. C. Continue through the intersection, then move to the right and stop. D. Move to the right and stop in the intersection. The answer is C. Explanation. If you are in an intersection, when you see or hear an emergency vehicle, continue through the intersection. Then move to the right as soon as you can and stop. Emergency vehicles, sharing the road, California Driver Handbook. Question 174. Yellow pavement markings on the road indicate. Answers. A. A no passing zone. B. The right edge of a roadway. C. A stop line at the stop sign. D. The left edge of a roadway. The answer is D. Explanation. Yellow markings are used to divide opposing roadway traffic and indicate the left travel edge of the roadway. Line colors, lane control, California Driver Handbook. Question 175. Do not use your horn. Answers. A. In any of the above situations. B. When you want the driver in front of you to move out of the way. C. To honk at a blind person. D. When you are angry or upset. The answer is A. Explanation. Do not honk at pedestrians, bicyclists, or motorcyclists unless it is necessary to avoid an accident. Horn, headlights and emergency signals. Safe driving practices. California Driver Handbook. Question 176. When you are turning right from a one-way street onto a two-way or divided street, always turn from. Answers. A. The lane farthest from the right curb. B. The lane nearest to the right curb. C. The middle lane. D. The left lane. The answer is B. Explanation. When you are turning right from a one-way street onto a two-way or divided street, always begin and end the turn in the lane nearest to the right curb. Right turns, California Driver Handbook. Question 177. On two-lane highways, you are allowed to pass. Answers. A. While crossing or within 100 feet of an intersection. B. When there is a dashed yellow line on your side of the center dividing line. C. When you are approaching the top of a hill or are on a curve and there is no clear view ahead. D. While crossing or within 100 feet of a railroad crossing. The answer is B. Explanation. When there is a dashed yellow line on your side of the lane, you are allowed to pass the vehicle in front of you. Line colors, lane controls, California Driver Handbook. Question 178. Which of the following are used as left edge lines on divided highways? Answers. A. Double solid red lines. B. Single solid white lines. C. Single or double solid yellow lines. D. Double solid white lines. The answer is C. Explanation. Single or double solid yellow lines are used as left edge lines on divided highways. Question 179. This sign shows the location of. Answers. A. An interstate highway. B. A hill area. C. A handicapped parking area. D. A hospital service. The answer is D. Explanation. This is a service guide sign. This sign shows the location of a hospital service. Traffic signs, traffic controls, California Driver Handbook. Question 180. This triangular sign represents. Answers. A. A school bus. B. A fast-moving vehicle. C. A high-occupancy vehicle. D. A slow-moving vehicle. The answer is D. Explanation. A vehicle displaying this sign is a slow-moving vehicle. A slow-moving vehicle is defined as any vehicle moving at less than 25 miles per hour. Slow-moving vehicles are required by law to display this sign. Slow-moving vehicles, sharing the road, California Driver Handbook. Question 181. Which of the following statements is not true regarding the use of headlights? Answers. A. High beams are used when traveling behind other vehicles. B. Low beams are used in city driving and driving in traffic on roadways. C. Low beams are used when traveling in fog, rain, or snow. D. High beams are used for open country driving when there is no traffic in sight. The answer is A. Explanation: low beams are used when traveling behind other vehicles or when another vehicle is approaching. High beams should be used in open country driving when there is no traffic in sight. High beams help a motorist see farther ahead and peripherally or at a wider angle. Driving in darkness, driving hazards, special driving situations. California Driver Handbook. Question 182. At an intersection, a steady yellow arrow pointing left indicates to the driver that. Answers: A. The signal is about to change to a green or red light or to a red arrow. B. None of the above are true. C. Oncoming traffic is stopped and he or she may turn left. D. He or she must increase speed. The answer is A. Explanation: a steady yellow arrow warns drivers that the time period of protected turning is ending. Be prepared to obey the next signal, which could be a green or red light or a red arrow. If you are approaching the intersection, you must stop. Traffic signal lights, traffic controls, California Driver Handbook. Question 183. What does this sign mean? Answers: A. Wheelchair availability. B. A crosswalk for pedestrians. C. A place reserved for persons with disabilities. D. A hospital ahead. The answer is C. Explanation: this symbol marks spaces for vehicles operated by or used to transport people with disabilities. Traffic signs, traffic controls, California Driver Handbook. Question 184. On a two-lane undivided highway, the maximum speed limit for vehicles towing trailers is. Answers: A. 55 miles per hour. B. 60 miles per hour. C. 70 miles per hour. D. 65 miles per hour. The answer is A. Explanation: on two-lane undivided highways, the maximum speed limit for vehicles towing trailers is 55 miles per hour unless otherwise posted. Maximum speed limit, laws and rules of the road, California Driver Handbook. Question 185. A driver who is involved in a collision should report it to the DMV within. Answers: A. 10 days. B. 20 days. C. 15 days. D. 30 days. The answer is A. Explanation: when you are involved in a collision, you must report it to the DMV within 10 days if more than $1,000 in damage was done to the property of any person or if anyone was injured, no matter how slightly, or killed. Reporting a collision. Collisions are not accidents. California Driver Handbook. Question 186. This sign indicates that. Answers: A. The right lane is closed ahead. B. A divided highway begins ahead. C. Traffic must turn left. D. A divided highway ends ahead. The answer is B. Explanation: this sign indicates that the traffic lanes ahead are divided by a median or divider and traffic is one way on each side. Drivers must keep right. Traffic signs, traffic controls, California Driver Handbook. Question 187. Before backing up your vehicle, you should look to the front, sides, and rear, and continue to look while backing. Answers: A. To the front. B. To the sides. C. In the side mirrors. D. To the rear. The answer is D. Explanation: Before backing up your vehicle, you should look to the front, sides, and rear, and continue to look to the rear while backing. Know what is behind you. Visual search, California Driver Handbook. Question 188. What is the correct hand signal for indicating a right turn? Answers: A. Hand and arm extended outward. B. Hand and arm extended backward. C. Hand and arm extended upward. D. Hand and arm extended downward. The answer is C. Explanation: be sure to make your intentions known to the other drivers. Continue signaling until you are ready to make the actual turn. The correct hand signal for making a right turn is to extend the hand and arm upward. Signaling, safe driving practices, California Driver Handbook. Question 189. Disabled persons who display their placards can park at a curb. Answers: A. Green. B. Blue. C. White. D. Red. The answer is B. Explanation: painted curbs indicate special parking rules. Blue parking is permitted only for a disabled person who displays a placard or a special license plate for disabled persons or disabled veterans. Disabled people with placards or special plates may park in special areas for unlimited periods of time, regardless of time restrictions. Parking at colored curbs, parking, California Driver Handbook. Question 190. If you approach an intersection at which the traffic lights are not working, you must first, before entering the intersection, and then yield the right of way. Answers: A. Come to a complete stop. B. Reduce your speed. C. Turn on your hazard lights. D. Increase your speed. The answer is A. Explanation: if you approach an intersection at which the traffic lights are not working, you must first come to a complete stop before entering the intersection and then yield the right of way to any vehicle on the right unless otherwise directed by a peace officer. Intersections, Laws and Rules of the Road, California Driver Handbook. All of those questions can be found in app DMV Success. DMV Success. Master your DMV exam in no time. Download now. Question 191. When making a right turn, look right and left, yield the right of way, and turn the steering wheel using. Answers: A. The single hand technique. B. The hand-off hand technique. C. The hand-over hand technique. D. The double hand technique. The answer is C. Explanation: when making a right turn, look right and left, yield the right of way, and turn the steering wheel hand over hand to complete the turn in the lane next to the curb. Right turns, California Driver Handbook. Question 192. In a roundabout, you must drive in. Answers: A. The direction of the oncoming vehicles. B. A counterclockwise direction. C. Any direction. D. A clockwise direction. The answer is B. Explanation: a roundabout is an intersection where traffic travels around a central island in a counterclockwise direction. Roundabouts, Laws and Rules of the Road, California Driver Handbook. Question 193. Flashing yellow lights on a school bus require other drivers to. Answers: A. Slow their vehicles and pass with caution. B. Share the lane. C. Pass quickly. D. slow their vehicles, and prepare to stop? The answer is D. Explanation: a variety of vehicles can flash yellow lights. Flashing yellow lights on tow trucks and slow-moving vehicles warn you to slow down. However, some school buses flash yellow lights when preparing to stop to let children on or off the bus. These lights warn you to slow down and prepare to stop. When the school bus flashes red lights, you must stop and remain stopped until the children have left and the red lights stop flashing. Question 194. When turning at low speeds, when parking, or when recovering from a skid, drivers must use. Answers: A. The one-hand steering technique. B. The two-hand steering technique. C. The hand-over-hand steering technique. D. The hand-to-hand steering technique. The answer is C. Explanation: the hand-over-hand method of steering can be used when turning at low speeds, when parking, or when recovering from a skid. When using this method, start with your hands at 9 and 3 o'clock or slightly lower at 8 and 4 o'clock. Depending on the direction you are turning, one hand will push the wheel up while the other hand will let go, reach across the other arm, grasp the wheel and pull up. Controlling the vehicle, steering, safe driving practices, California Driver Handbook. Question 195. Which of the following statements is true regarding lane markings on the road? Answers: A. A solid white line between lanes of traffic means that you should stay in your lane unless a special situation requires you to change lanes. B. Two solid lines between opposing lanes of traffic means that vehicles on either side can pass. C. Where there is both a solid yellow line and a dashed yellow line between opposing lanes of traffic, you may pass if the solid line is on your side. D. A dashed yellow line between opposing lanes of traffic means that you may not cross the line. The answer is A. Explanation: a solid white line between lanes of traffic means that you should stay in your lane unless a special situation requires you to change lanes. Line colors, lane control, California Driver Handbook. Question 196. A double solid yellow line in the center of the road means that. Answers: A. All traffic must stop at the line. B. Passing is allowed in either direction. C. Traffic can go in only one direction. D. Passing is not allowed in either direction. The answer is D. Explanation: double solid yellow lines mark the center of a road and separate traffic traveling in opposite directions. Passing is not allowed in either direction. Drivers may not cross the lines unless they are making a left turn. Line colors, lane controls, California Driver Handbook. Question 197. If you see a stray animal in your path, you should. Answers: A. Increase your speed to pass the animal quickly. B. Slow down or stop if it is safe. C. Open your window and shout at the animal. D. Use your horn and proceed at the same speed. The answer is B. Explanation: if you see animals or livestock, slow down and follow directions from the person in charge of the animals. If you see a stray animal in your path, slow down or stop if it is safe. Near animals, speed limits, California Driver Handbook. Question 198. When you find both a solid yellow line and a dashed yellow line between opposing lanes of traffic, you must not pass. Answers: A. None of the above. B. If the dashed yellow line is on your side. C. If the solid yellow line is not on your side. D. if the solid yellow line is on your side? The answer is D. Explanation: where there is both a solid yellow line and a dashed yellow line between opposing lanes of traffic, you may not pass if the solid yellow line is on your side. Line colors, lane control, California Driver Handbook. Question 199. When you turn off a high-speed, two-lane roadway, if you have traffic following you. Answers: A. Try not to slow down your vehicle too quickly. B. Try to slow down your vehicle quickly. C. Try to increase the speed of your vehicle. D. Try to apply your brakes and keep your steering steady. The answer is A. Explanation: when you turn off a high-speed, two-lane roadway, try not to slow down too quickly. Use your turn signals to let other drivers know your intentions. Tap your brakes and reduce your speed quickly but safely. Space to merge, vehicle positioning, California Driver Handbook. Question 200. The stopping distance of your vehicle depends on which of the following factors? Answers: A. Perception distance. B. All of the above. C. Reaction distance. D. Braking distance. The answer is B. Explanation: total stopping distance is the sum of your perception distance, how far your vehicle goes from when you see the hazard until your brain processes it. Reaction distance, how far your vehicle goes from when your brain orders your foot to take action until your foot actually starts to brake. And braking distance, how far your vehicle continues to travel once you apply the brake. California Driver Handbook.